The gymnasium glittered with fairy lights, echoing with laughter, soft music, and the shuffle of tiny feet in shiny shoes. It was the annual father-daughter dance at Willow Creek Elementary, where little girls spun in tulle skirts and daddies, some shy and stiff, tried their best to twirl them. Among the crowd, a little girl named Lila stood quietly in the corner, clutching a daisy she had picked from the schoolyard earlier that day. Her dress was second-hand, but clean and pressed. Her shoes didn't match, but no one seemed to notice, or maybe no one looked closely enough. Her big brown eyes scanned the dance floor, not with envy, but with a tender sort of longing. She wasn't supposed to be there alone. But she came anyway. A few feet away, tall and sharply dressed in a tailored suit, Richard Langston stood near the refreshment table. The CEO of Langston Tech was a man of steel resolve, a billionaire, a builder of empires, a speaker at business conferences around the globe. But right now, he looked uncomfortable, as if he didn't belong. He wasn't sure why he'd even agreed to accompany his colleague's daughter to the dance while her father was away on deployment. Some part of him, a quiet, buried part, had tugged at his conscience when the invitation arrived. Richard's eyes drifted around the room, then suddenly froze. There, walking toward him with hesitant steps, was a little girl. Her hair was tied in pigtails with fraying ribbons. She looked no older than 8. She stopped in front of him, holding out the daisy with trembling hands. "Can I dance with you?" she asked softly, her voice barely rising above the music. Richard blinked. The room faded. For a second, he saw not the girl, but a face from years ago, Amanda. Her eyes, that same shade of deep brown, staring at him the day he walked out. "Excuse me?" he asked, clearing his throat, trying to recompose himself. "I know I don't have a daddy," she said, "but, my mom said once that people change. That maybe one day, you'd want to meet me." Richard's breath caught in his chest. The daisy shook in her little hand. He reached for the flowers slowly, his fingers trembling now, not hers. "What's your name?" he asked, though he already knew. "Lila. Lila Anderson." Amanda's last name. Richard hadn't heard it in a decade. 10 years ago, when he was still climbing ladders, when ambition ran hotter than love, he had ended things. Amanda had told him she was pregnant. He told her he wasn't ready. He never returned her calls after that. He buried the memory beneath mergers and IPOs. But now, that memory stood before him, wearing sparkly socks and a hopeful smile. I didn't know," he whispered, voice cracking. "It's okay," Lila said with a shrug far too mature for her years. "Mom says some people run because they're scared. Not mean. Just scared." Richard's heart cracked. Around them, the music changed to a slow tune. Fathers bent low to their daughter's height, giggling as they danced awkwardly. The moment demanded a choice, not just to dance, but to face the past, and perhaps, rewrite it. With shaking hands, Richard extended his. "May I have this dance, Miss Lila?" Her eyes lit up like stars. "Yes, sir." He knelt down so she wouldn't have to reach so high. She placed her small hand in his, and he guided her gently to the center of the floor. They began to sway. He was stiff at first, robotic. But as Lila laughed, a bright, unfiltered sound, his shoulders dropped, and something long forgotten stirred inside him. Not regret. Not guilt. Love. Other parents watched curiously. Some recognized Richard. A few whispered. But he didn't care. As the music played on, Lila spoke between twirls. "Mom works at the diner. She's really tired most days. But she's funny. And she sings when she washes dishes. I think you'd like her." Tears pricked Richard's eyes. "I already did. A long time ago." "Then why'd you leave her?" she asked without malice, only curiosity. "I was afraid. I thought success meant having everything, Except I left behind the only things that mattered. Lila looked up at him, thoughtful. Do you want a second chance? He stopped dancing. The gym spun around him, but his world had narrowed to one girl, one question, and one possible redemption. Yes, he said. If your mom will let me, and if you will too. Lila grinned, missing a front tooth. Then we'll start with this dance. They continued to sway, father and daughter, slowly stitching the years between them with every step. The next morning, Richard drove to the old diner on Oak Street. Amanda was wiping down a booth when he walked in. She froze when she saw him. Hi, he said, his voice raw. I met someone last night. She asked me to dance. And I've never felt so honored. Amanda didn't say anything. Her eyes filled with tears. I know I can't fix the past, he continued. But I want to be in her life. In your life. If you'll let me. She studied him, her heart warring with her memories. Then, she nodded slowly. You'll have to earn it, she said. I will, he promised. Over the months that followed, Richard became a fixture at school plays, dentist visits, and Saturday pancake breakfasts. He learned how to braid hair, badly, helped with math homework, and listened, really listened, to Lila's stories about unicorns and outer space. But more than that, he learned how to be present. How to love without conditions. How to be the father he never thought he could be. And one evening, as they watched the sunset from Amanda's porch, Lila leaned her head against his arm and whispered, "Thanks for staying." He kissed her forehead gently. "Thanks for asking me to dance."